Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a really good day. I'm looking forward to talking to you about a reason why you might actually be having a hard time turning leads or, people who you meet who you think would be really great customers or clients, a reason why you might actually be having a hard time converting them into paying clients or customers and how to fix it. And this is also one of the biggest kind of like aha moments that a lot of my clients have or students have, depending on how they're working with me, when they first start learning from me and learning about how I do my marketing and how I attract clients consistently and how I've grown my business. And that thing that you might be missing is a buyer's journey. And so if you have no idea what I'm talking about, when I say a buyer's journey, then you definitely need to watch today's video. And if you do know that I'm talking about when I say a buyer's journey, it's also about recognizing that it's about having a well-crafted buyer's journey that's been created with your buyer, market, potential clients, and customers in mind. It's not what you think the type of journey that they go on. It's about actually knowing the kind of journey they go on, knowing what type of touch points you have to have with this person, understanding at what time do they go from being interested in you to being a paying client, how much trust has to be built along the way, where are their hesitations, where might they be resisting working with you or signing up with you, what might be some blocks, where might you be losing people. All of those types of things you need to actually understand in order to consistently take leads and turn them into paying clients. And the more expensive or the higher end your product or service is, the more integral your buyer's journey is and understanding your buyer's journey. And so just to give you like a quick example of what I mean by a buyer's journey. Oh, hey, Bethany. Actually, you know what? Bethany's watching. So we can go through Bethany's buyer's journey with me to give you a little bit of an example. So Bethany was realistically actually going on like her own journey before ever interacting with me. She was running a photography business. She was doing really well. She was getting clients, but she wasn't at a stage where she was ready to go full-time into her business. And so her journey was quick. Now, not all journeys are at this quick, but Bethany and I actually met one-on-one at I don't even know if you would call it a networking event. I met someone at a networking event who invited me to Bethany's house. And while I was at Bethany's house, her and I had this extensive conversation. And the next day, she quit her job and hired me as her coach. So that is like a really, really quick buyer's journey. But in her case, her journey, it didn't last a long time, but there was a lot of like no trust because her and I had, hours of really deep conversations circulating around her business and why she could go full time. And so I understand that journey. And in that journey, while it wasn't a long one, there was a lot of that like no trust factor. And she was really ready to go from being on her own journey outside of, knowing who I was. She was really ready to go from being a side hustler entrepreneur to a full-time entrepreneur. But a buyer's journey is just the journey that people go on before they hire or work with you. And that could be something like they see you on social media and then they start following your social media stuff. And then they go to your website and maybe they sign up for a lead magnet of yours and they get on your email address. And so now they're seeing stuff from you online, but they're also seeing stuff from you in their inbox. And then maybe you run an event, depending on what you do. Either it's an online event or it's an in-person event. And then they go to said event. And then they enjoy that event. And then again, they follow you online. And so there's all of these little steps that a person goes on. And then the next thing is maybe they book in a strategy call with you or they book in a consultation with you and then they hire you as a client. That is an entire journey that the person goes on before ever purchasing from you. And a lot of us are unaware of the fact that we have a plethora of potential clients just circulating around in our orbit. That's the phrase I like to use for marketing. But because we don't have a well-crafted journey that they're going on, where we're kind of guiding them along the path of where and when they should be working with us or how they can be working with us, we lose people. And for some of us, we're so focused on where do I find clients, where do I find customers, that we forget that there's this entire in-between phase where you have a first interaction with someone before they actually hire you. Because again, in today's day and age, you need to have a lot of touch points with your audience before they trust you enough, like you enough, know you enough, understand what it is that you do, and then want to work with you. And so you need to understand who your buyer is and the types of journeys that they go on. How much trust do they need to have before they work with you? And it is about, I kind of call it like an orbit. So you're pulling people into your orbit, and the buyer's journey is essentially the things that occur to keep them in your orbit long enough for them to trust you enough and to decide to work with you. And there's a lot of multiple touch points that you're going to have with a person throughout this journey. And it can't just be things like posting quotes on Facebook and Instagram. It has to be a combination of different things. But again, who is your audience? What do they want to see from you? Do they want to see behind the scenes? Do they want to kind of see like a day in the life? Do they also want to see personal curated content, so content that you've created so that they can get an idea of how you think and what it would be like to work with you? How much content of yours do they need to interact with, original content, before they trust you enough? How many times do they need to see you, speaking out in public? Or how many times do they need to see Facebook or Instagram posts of yours or read emails of yours on average before they've made up their mind about if they like you or not and are therefore going to work with you? And so, oh, hey, Bridget. And so for everyone, again, it's really about recognizing that if you're having a hard time like actually converting potential leads into paying clients, it might be because you don't have a buyer's journey. They come into your life and then you don't really know what to do with them. You kind of just expect, oh, they're going to meet me and then they're going to want to buy from me. But most people aren't in a position to buy your product or service the instant that they meet you. It often takes a long time. And I actually saw Krista was on here, who is a client of mine, and her buyer's journey with me has been the last 2 years. We met at an in-person networking event, and she's been following me online. She's had other clients of mine talk to her and say, you should work with Lana, you should work with Lana. And she's like, would ask me questions. And it took her 2 years of going on a journey to decide, okay, like I'm in a position where I'm ready to work with her and I know and trust her enough to want to work with her. And so you want to know, yeah, that's you, Krista, that's you, hey. And so with Krista as an example, if I wasn't creating content, if I wasn't actively still being seen out in public, if I wasn't, on social media, if I wasn't doing all of those things, she would have forgotten about me 2 years ago. She would have met me once at that event and that would have been it. But because I know how to, when I meet people, how to kind of bring them into my orbit and how to keep them there long enough to build that trust, that's why I'm able to convert clients so easily. And so for so many of you, oh yeah, no regrets. I'm glad that Krista has no regrets. And so for a lot of you, it's that same thing. I want you to think about, do you have a buyer's journey? Do you understand the journey that your buyers go on before they actually hire you? If you don't, then that's something that you really want to start thinking about and actively looking at, because there is a journey that they go on. And the more you understand what that is, the better that journey and experience is for them. And then that means the more clients you have consistently. And it means by the time they actually get to you and they're interested in working with you, they've already made up their mind. And so price isn't really as much of an issue. All of those things that you kind of find hard in the sales process, they aren't as. It is, think about the buyer's journey. And if you don't have a well thought out, crafted buyer's journey, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, and it's the first time that you've ever heard this concept, just reach out, let me know, because you're gonna have a really hard time building a business that consistently gives you the quality clients that you want if you don't understand who your buyer is, the journey that they go on, all of those little touch points and interactions, and the amount that have to happen, and the type of trust and the type of content that they want and what they want to see from you. If you don't understand that, you're gonna have a really hard time building a long-term consistent business. So as always, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you need anything from me, always reach out. You can always book in a strategy session, or if you just want some suggestions, just shoot me an email or post or something like that. Whatever it is, I'm here to help. But as always, keep kicking ass and figure out what your buyer's journey is, and I will talk with you soon.